Well, that certainly was a very, very cool WrestleMania, wasn't it? And your boys are here to break it all down for you. The good, the not so good, and the ugly, which we're going to replace with some other things.
Like this dance. The ugly is this dance.
Yeah. While Patrick's dancing, it is your boys, Brian, the intellectual savior of the wrestling masses, and Patrick, the reverend of the rant, here to break down everything that went down at WrestleMania 36. Patrick, my brother, how are you doing today?
If I can get a little tabernacle on this, with it being Easter weekend, happy Easter to everybody. Hope you guys are doing everything you can to spend time with family and in your faith, if that's how you roll. If I can get a little tabernacle on this one, what a glorious and holy wrestling weekend we had last weekend, my brother. It was amazing. And I'm sorry, I'm one of those people where you might call me one of the Kool-Aid drinking WWE fanatics, which I'm really not. I'm a realist. And what we saw, somehow the creative team took lemons and limes and gave us an absolutely perfect margarita.
It's a good analogy, good way to look at it.
That Jimmy Buffett himself would be proud of. WWJBD. What would Jimmy Buffett do?
Wonderful. Well, that is the Reverend of the Rant, Patrick. He can be reached at Rant Modon on the Twitter machine. Your boy can be reached at bkrego15 on Twitter as well. Email the show, wrestlingwithegos@gmail.com, and check out the Google repository, bit.ly/withegos. Patrick, what do you think? We get right into our good, bad, and ugly? You kind of alluded to mine. My good is simply this: the WWE in this circumstance was given lemons, and by and large, they made lemonade. It was a welcome diversion, and I thank sincerely everyone involved for giving it their all, because it was a great way to spend a couple of nights. It was a nice respite from all that's going on in the world.
Absolutely. We talked about it last week, the two of us along with RJ. This was built as a wrestling show. And the more and more I've thought about it, this was not only a wrestling show, to put it into a really weird perspective, this was an acoustic set. This was like, okay, I'm going to go see my favorite band in the entire world, but it's in this small, intimate venue, and it's acoustic guitars, and it's like going to one of those old MTV Unplugged series shows and being in the crowd when Nirvana played All Apologies and Man Who Sold the World and made that phenomenal Unplugged in New York album, which, if you like Nirvana and you've never heard that, holy mother of God. Kurt Cobain's cover of Man Who Sold the World. Love that song.
Quick sidebar for MTV Unplugged. I'm always going to have a soft spot for one of my favorite artists of all time. Her Unplugged, Alanis Morissette, also had a very good MTV Unplugged. Her cover of The Police's King of Pain, excellently well done. But I digress. We're not here for a music show this week.
No, and one more to throw out there. Believe it or not, somebody else that had a very good MTV Unplugged was LL Cool J.
Have to check that out. Don't remember that one, but
he did some of his older stuff. He did I'm Bad. He did Mama Said Knock You Out, and he did a couple of other ones. It was just like, yeah. I mean, it was like jazz. It was jazzed up, and it was pretty boss. It was pretty boss. But
as far as bad goes, I'm not going to give out much bad, because were there low spots? Yes. But the unusual extenuating circumstances of the time period meant some matches worked, which we're going to talk about. Some matches didn't. But you can say that about every WrestleMania. You can say that about every event any promotion puts on. There's matches that work, and there's matches that just fall short for whatever reason.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I feel but I did pick one. You know, in a show that you could argue, for me, I'm teetering on the verge of giving it an 85 or a 90. I'm not sure. I'm still able to pick out one stink bomb from the entire card. And for me, it was the Raw Tag Team title match. I just thought it fell flat. And it wasn't because those four guys in the ring don't know what they're doing. For me, there was zero chemistry between Angel Garza and Austin Theory. We gripe so much on this show about just taking two guys and slapping them together and, oh, here's a tag team. You know, it's kind of like, you know, Alanis Morissette. It's like some of those crazy, you know, some of those disgusting things in food from that diner on You Can't Do That on Television.
Right.
Yeah, Barf's Burgers or whatever that place was. Yeah, it was one of those. Just like, ugh, this just don't gel. And meanwhile, the Street Profits have nothing but tag team chemistry. They're so good. So for me, that's my bad, because I was just like, ugh, this match kind of sucks, comparatively speaking.
Yeah. And I am not giving out an ugly this week. I am replacing my ugly with unusual.
Okay.
My unusual was all the sounds that the ring, the ropes, the ladders and such make, and then getting to hear the wrestlers talk a little bit more than normal. You know, even hearing them, you know, not the trash talk even. Just the, you know, when, you know, or the sounds they would make when they were getting hit, or the sounds they would make when they were put in a hold or something like that. That was different for me. That's not something that I normally, in fact, about the only time I can remember experiencing that is the NXT shows that you and I have been to, when they've come to the Agora in Cleveland, because the chops are that much, you know, closer, because you're right there. You're 10 feet away from the ring or whatever. So it took me, you know, all in all, both nights, it took me a while to warm up to the presentation, because it was just so alien to me.
It was down. It was the best way I describe it, as I said earlier, it was an acoustic show.
And that's not on them, it's on me, because, you know, that's what I see. I see these matches in front of, you know, 65,000 people or 18,000 people for a Raw or whatever the case may be. And I'm just not used to that kind of wrestling. So, you know, I found myself tuning out the commentary on the matches that had commentary. I found myself just kind of trying to get into the in-ring action and, you know, letting things speak for themselves.
And I think what happened there was remarkable. By the way, I have a newfound appreciation for Charlotte, because my God, that woman talks some crap. I was like, damn, woman. And also Rhea selling that knee injury. Good Lord, it was just painful. I replaced my U as well, but it wasn't with, what was yours?
Unusual.
Unusual. Mine was not unusual, because for me, there's one thing that stood out for me above anything else on WrestleMania, and the only word to describe it is unbelievable. And that would be the Firefly Funhouse match.
Folks, that's a little behind the scenes podcast talk. That's called a segue, because we are about to unpack the matches that stood out to us, and we could unpack this match if we had like a 9-hour show. This is not a 9-hour show, but we're gonna go cliff notes for you and bring you along slowly.
We could spend the next 50 minutes of this show, the final 50 minutes of this show, because we're trying to keep it in an hour. We'll see how that turns out. But we could spend the rest of the show talking about this match alone, because, oh my God.
I think deep down inside, I was hoping or something. I was hoping for this match to deliver, and my God, did it deliver.
Deliver is an understatement, bro. And here's something that bothers me to no end. For some reason, people thought this match was absolute garbage. And I saw so many people on social media, oh, this wasn't even a match. This was garbage. This shouldn't have happened. And I remember tweeting at one girl, don't remember who she was, nor do I care. And I flat out told her, this isn't very Christian-like in me, but whatever. I told her that I was going to pray for her and her parents because her parents clearly did not teach her to use her imagination like she would have learned by simply watching Sesame Street at 5 years old. Anybody with an imagination can look at this match and go, holy shit. Like, I don't know whether they were drunk, if they were on something, or if they were just like, let's see just how crazy we can get and see what Vince will sign off on. And apparently, if they weren't drunk, Vince was, because he was just check, check, check.
I mean, from what I read, in the little that I've been able to read, because I don't go diving deep into forums and stuff like that looking for stuff. I'll just take my news where I can get it. The credit for most of this match goes to Bray.
Yep.
Cena changed some things around, but if Cena changed some things around, both men are to be commended.
Yes.
Because I'll get my points out of the way because I'm sure you're going to go in way deeper than I have. But here's a few things I have written down. The amount of shots that Bray took at anyone with a pulse. I mean, you could make 25 guys deep. I mean, he's got shots at Eric Bischoff. He's got shots at Hulk Hogan. He's got shots at Vince himself. He's got shots at John Cena, obviously because the whole match is a deconstruction of John Cena's aura. And I'm sure there's some other people that I'm forgetting. Maybe he took a shot at Kurt Angle, although not really. The degree to which Cena allowed and even participated in his career being roundly exposed. Because for everybody that holds him up as this hero, there's another part of the population that holds him up as this, pariah. The you bury people argument.
I've always made the analogy that John Cena is the Tim Tebow of professional wrestling. You either love him or you hate him.
Right.
There is no middle ground with John Cena. Never has been.
I'll also argue that this match is the first big step taken by Bray Wyatt in once again pervading the wrestling world's collective psyche, because he's fully aware that his aura took a hit losing to Goldberg in South Saudi Arabia. So what do? Okay, fine. I'm going to take your poster boy and I'm going to fricassee him, basically. I'm going to strip him down to nothing, basically. And I'm going to, roundly defeat him. And there's so many different connotations of the word defeat. And then the beauty of having Cena's own promo used against him from 2 weeks ago. The most overhyped, overvalued, that was beautiful poetry. And no commentary. That's going to be a common theme for me tonight, boys and girls. This match had no commentary. It left us to draw our own conclusions. And I loved it.
I did too. Diving a little deeper into it. Literally, it was not just the deconstruction, in my opinion, not just the deconstruction of John Cena's career, but you have to think, I mean, one of our viewers on Wrestling with Egos is a coworker of mine in the warehouse named PJ. Shout out to PJ. PJ and I have bounced a couple of ideas off of each other over the last couple of days in the warehouse. And I am of the belief that nothing in this match was done by mistake. Everything was calculated to the nth degree. Every choice, every shot, every Easter egg was purposely put there at that exact moment. Everything, kind of like the quote out of the Matrix. What happened happened. It couldn't have happened any other way. because it was not, to me, not only the exposure of John Cena's entire career, but also an indictment of professional wrestling as a whole since Bray Wyatt has been, since Wyndham Rotunda, Bray Wyatt has been alive. Because remember, he is a third generation superstar, which is just, and so he's been in this business practically his entire life. His dad's Mike Rotunda, IRS. His grandfather was Blackjack Mulligan, the father of Barry Windham.
Yeah.
So not only looking at and poking fun at John's highs and his lows, and I thought they skipped over things that would have made John look really good. Like, for example, his feud with Edge and his feud with JBL and winning the title. Those moments that made him look really good, they avoided. But the ruthless aggression and then the missed slap and just doing that over and over again. By the way, nearly pissed myself the first time I watched it when Bray gets up from the duck and goes, "You can look, but you can't touch." Oh my God, I about died. I was like, I'm arguing with RJ last week about, like, I can't stand when little promotions take shot at the big guys. But when WWE pokes fun at itself, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they went. That's the one where I was like, I can't believe we went there. Which, Bray, John, mwah, thank you. I love that one. But just doing everything that they did, and I did not realize this. So they did that whole, the indictment of professional wrestling goes back to the spoof on Saturday Night's Main Event, where Bray's, in his muscle man gear, doing the muscle man dance, and he has his tag team partner Johnny Large Meat, who's just, which I thought was hysterical. The promos didn't make sense. Ultimate Warrior. Nothing about that made any sense. I love the fact that they had the steel cage in front of them, which was always a nice touch on some of those old 80s vignettes. But here's something that blew my mind, and I got corrected by one of my Twitter followers. I can't remember his name. I'm shouting him out right here under as a lower third for me right now. He pointed out that was, in fact, the theme song to Saturday Night's Main Event back in that time frame. Here's the scary thing. Do you know what the song? It's an actual 80s song, Brian. Do you know what it is?
Yes, the song's called "Obsession" by Animotion.
Yes. I'm like, they're doing this with a song called "Obsession," which leads me to further the point of nothing they did here was done by accident, boys and girls. This thing was, it all goes back to my opinion, this being the storytelling masterpiece of the last 10 years at least. My God in heaven. And just that, and then love how they tied in the NWO. Bray Wyatt and John Cena two-sweeting in the middle of the ring, one wearing Wolfpack gear, Bray wearing Wolfpack gear as Bischoff, and Cena coming down and doing the Hogan entrance in the black and white. That is something I didn't know I needed to see, and damn it, I am glad I saw it. As someone who is definitely an NWO guy, with the exception of Sting, because Sting kicked all ass. It was just brilliant. And then they tied that in to WrestleMania 30. And then John doing what John should have done, which was take that chair and wobble Bray upside the head and kind of win the dirty way which was what Bray was trying to get him to do at WrestleMania 30. And when he went for it, that was like, for Bray, all wrongs have been righted. The Fiend can emerge and vanquish the guy that ruined it all for Bray Wyatt.
Right.
To me, it was a dream sequence told in the perspective of Bray Wyatt. And it was the vanquishing of his demon. And I was just like, oh my God, this is so good. We cut to the end of it, and Titus is like, I don't know what I watched. I went, I do. I do. I know exactly what we watched. I think we watched two things. I think we watched the validation of probably the most creative person in WWE in the last 25 years in Bray Wyatt. And if this isn't proof that Vince just needed to let him do whatever the bleep he wants to do, it is. And that combined with a tweet from the 16-time World Heavyweight Champion John Cena, which you guys can see on the screen right here, all things in. When it's time to leave them guessing. I don't think we're going to see John Cena for a while. I would not be surprised as far as him being active. This might be it. Kind of like how The Rock's final match until he got lured back into that 1-year feud with that 2-year feud with Cena. I think this very well might have been John Cena's WrestleMania 20 when he teamed with Mick Foley to take on Evolution. I think this might be it. So I think truly, I believe the Firefly Funhouse match could go down historically. And I have no problem with that.
And here's what I don't want. Because all I've been reading about this week is who should the next Firefly Funhouse match be against? For the love of God, would you let it breathe?
No, we don't need another one.
We don't need another one anytime soon. We probably need another one ever.
No.
Because you'll cheapen it just like you've cheapened everything else that you've run into the ground. Every other stipulation that, we've talked about on the show before is being played out.
We'll end up having a pay-per-view. WWE presents Firefly Funhouse, presented by Hasbro.
So, I mean, you're not going to tell me there's not enough psychological depth for Bray Wyatt to mine without everything having to be a Firefly Funhouse match.
Bray doesn't need it. Bray won't do it. I guarantee you. I would bet all the money I would ever make in my entire life. Bray won't do it. He doesn't need to do it. He's got too many bullets in the gun. And by that, I mean his head.
Right.
What do you want to talk about next? Because there's a lot of things we could do. We could talk about title matches. We could talk about, you know what? How about we start Mania with one of the two pre-produced epics and end with the other?
Okay.
All right. First off, let's just go ahead and get it out of the way, and we'll spend 15 seconds on this. Braun Strowman Goldberg sucked. As it should have, as we expected it to. Anybody who tells me that, that match should have been better, that was Mike Tyson and Peter McNeely. It was you. There was no way anybody in their right mind could have gotten off their couch, gone to the bathroom, taken a dump, and come back, and that match still would have been going on. I don't care how great of a power pooper you are. It wasn't happening. Yes, I just used power pooper on this week's show.
I will say that I'm happy for Braun.
I am too.
I know it's not going to be a long reign. It's going to, it's fine for what it is.
Yes.
The focus clearly was not on that match.
No.
So it was good for what it was. Happy for Braun. Moving on.
all that proved was that all this match proved was that they did not want Bray to lose the title to Roman.
Right.
They did not, for whatever reason, they did not want Bray to lose to Roman. Either because they didn't want that loss to affect him that negatively, or they've got something else planned for Bray and Roman. Because trust me, that one's coming. Ain't one but you, Roman. Ain't one but you. Remember it. I keep saying it. We're going to get back to that, and it's going to be mother bleeping glorious when we do, boys and girls. And when I'm right about that, when you can come talk to me and tell me, you and Brian had that one. You and Brian had that one. Brian gets credit because Brian's sitting in his living room doing this number. He's nodding aggressively like, yep. Roman said, Bray said that. Anyone but you, Roman. So all this was to me was that no matter what, Goldberg was going to be a transitional champion. Roman would have beat his ass in the same amount of time. Bottom line, point blank, cut, print, kill the pig. Move on. Brock and Drew was a hell of a match. It was short-lived, but as we talked about last week, it was snug. They beat the piss out of each other, and I liked it. I really liked it. And I talked to you about this earlier. We didn't really go over this in the pre-show stuff, but I've had an epiphany. And brace yourself, boys and girls. Brace yourself, Brian, my dear best friend. I'm about to probably make some people's minds explode. I've had an epiphany. I've had a change of heart about one Brock Lesnar. I don't hate Brock Lesnar anymore. I don't dislike Brock Lesnar anymore. I fully and truly appreciate Brock Lesnar. And I'll tell you why. Brock has become the guy that is the stepping stone. He is the person you snatch the torch from. He's the gatekeeper. Because Brock Lesnar has this built-in credibility, this built-in cachet. Here's that word again, boys and girls, equity. Because he is a legitimate badass, an NCAA heavyweight wrestling champion, a former UFC heavyweight champion, the youngest WWE champion second youngest. Randy beat him. The second youngest WWE champion in history. He has this built-in street cred when he came back. So let's look at WrestleMania. Just WrestleManias since Brock came back. He beat Cena. Well, no, that was Extreme Rules, but it was right after WrestleMania. He starts by beating Cena. He gets to the next WrestleMania, which was in Miami, and he lost to Triple H. That was 29. That was WrestleMania 29. WrestleMania 30, he beat The Undertaker. And there was so much venom behind that, I'm starting to realize what happened. Vince knew he had something. So let's take from that point, from WrestleMania 30, when Paul Heyman declared for the next 6 months, my client Brock Lesnar conquered The Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania. From that point, WrestleMania 31, yes or no, did Brock Lesnar win?
No.
WrestleMania 32, in Dallas, when he faced Roman. No, he didn't. No, when he faced Dean Ambrose. Did it matter?
No.
WrestleMania 33, which was Orlando?
Yes, because 34 was New Orleans.
Right. All right. So Orlando, when he faced Roman, did he win?
He didn't face Roman in Orlando.
Who did he face in Orlando?
I don't remember, but it was Taker and Roman.
Oh, that's right.
I don't remember who 33 was against.
We'll have to look
But
it up.
I do see your point though.
Rollins beat him for the title. Roman has faced him. He has been the gatekeeper. Are we pissed off that he took the title off of Kofi in a matter of a millisecond? Yes, but look back on it. Kofi's title reign was already running out of steam because they didn't really book it right.
Right.
What do you do to heat things back up? Put the title back on Brock. All right, now we can regroup. We're in the corner. We just got hit really hard. All right, let's come back to our senses. What do we have? It's October. What do we got? We got McIntyre over here. McIntyre's starting to get hotter than a firecracker. If we turn him face, we might be onto something. And what happened right after Brock beat Kofi? 3, 2, 1. Claymore. That was loud. But that started happening. And we started getting behind Drew. Then January rolls around. Claymore to the face, Lesnar's out. For the next 3 months, Claymore, F5. Claymore, F5. What happened at WrestleMania? Claymore, 3, 1, 2, 3. The only thing I wish, this is the only time I wish we had the crowd in at WrestleMania was for that match. Because that last Claymore kick would have gotten the countdown. My honest opinion, you would have gotten him in the corner. 3, 2, 1. And he would have kicked Lesnar's head into the 19th row.
Right.
He might have kicked him through the uprights. Been one of those.
One thing you did get, though, was the visual of McIntyre celebrating and Lesnar laying there conquered in the ring. That visual was not lost on me.
Mm-hmm. And something else that was not lost on me came after WrestleMania when Drew McIntyre tweeted out this. I dreamed a broken dream. I made it come true. I made it for you. Thank you for referencing the lyrics of your old entrance music, because I got to be honest, one of the best entrance themes ever, ever, ever. I loved it. So I have a change of heart of Lesnar. Am I a fan? No. Do I appreciate him for what he is, what he has become? Yes, he's the gatekeeper. When Drew's title run starts losing its steam, you can bet your ass that somehow Lesnar will end up back with the title, and Lesnar will be the champion again come next WrestleMania, unless Drew is just this unstoppable monster, or someone else has supplanted Drew as this unstoppable monster. And then, if not, it'll be Brock, because Brock has that built-in cachet. I'm making the prediction now. The WWE champion going into next year's WrestleMania in Los Angeles will be Seth Rollins.
Okay, I can see that.
The Monday Night Messiah will be the champion going in to Mania. And it wouldn't surprise me one bit if his opponent is Kevin Owens.
What a coincidence. That's the match I want to talk about next.
I'm killing it with these segues tonight,
You
man.
are.
Hey, let's run that match back, because damn it, that was a good match.
That was the one that the Lovebird actually liked the most. She was into that match. You know, she retired early both nights, so she didn't get to see Taker, AJ, and Bray and Cena as they happened. So we ran those back for her later on. But I think of all the matches she saw, Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins was the one that she really liked.
Time out. What did she think about those two beautiful matches? Just
she was confused by both of them, just because, and just because of all the inside stuff. And I'm sure over the course of time, I'll explain everything to her. And, she knew though, from watching Bray and John Cena the first time, that there was a lot of inside stuff going on.
Yeah.
And she was laughing at some parts of it. And, especially the Johnny Large meat stuff. She thought that was funny. But
my God, that was brilliant.
But I'll give credit for the most part, for Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. You didn't have, a whole bunch of ancillary, theatrics. Rollins bringing 6 guys to the ring or anything like that. It was just the two of them.
That's all they needed.
That's all they needed. Yeah.
Those two guys are two of the best workers in the entire world. I don't care what promotion. I don't care if it's indie. I don't care if it's WWE. I don't care if you're trying to compare AEW guys to WWE, New Japan guys to WWE. Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins are two of the absolute best in-ring performers the industry has to offer right now. I mean, you will not ever, 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 ever change my mind. So, but I agree with you. That match was, in the ring, the best match of the night.
And Kevin Owens just worked a little bit harder to get his WrestleMania moment, obviously. So, I mean, kudos to both guys, because it was a great match.
Yeah, loved the spot with KO jumping off the sign at the announce table. Loved that, because I kept seeing the announce table. I'm like, how the piss are they going to take that thing out? I'm like, it's right there. I don't, because it's WrestleMania. The table has to die. No WrestleMania is complete without an announce table spot. It's kind of like, really? It's like watching Nitro way back in the day and Tony Schiavone talking about how this could be the most important night in the history of our sport. Run it back. Tony Schiavone said that shit a million times on Nitro. It became a running joke almost. Don't get me wrong. Love Tony Schiavone, but damn. And when Rollins was laid out and KO was gone, I'm like, what? Oh my God, is he going to climb up the back of that sign and, yep, that's exactly what he's going to do. And then just, whee! I'm like, well, damn. That was pretty sweet. Because KO went full commit on that one.
Yes, he did.
He went full commit on that. Just laid out, dropped that elbow. I was like, nice. Yeah, good match. You want to know another match I really enjoyed watching back, because it wasn't a match. It was a freaking fight. Charlotte and Rhea Ripley.
That one surprised me, especially once I saw the direction they were going in towards the end. And I'm like, Charlotte's going to win this match.
I kind of figured that as well. Real quick, those two might have won the WrestleMania red carpet with their gear. Them and Seth. Seth's gear was freaking gangster. The robe and everything. I was like, oh, that's pimp. That's pimp. And then Rhea comes out in the white and blue, the Dragon Ball Z reference, and then Charlotte comes out in gear very, very resemblant of one of the of Rick's gear when he faced Macho Man at WrestleMania 9, the one in Indy. 8?
I think that might have been 8.
Yeah, 9
was the one outside, and Flair wasn't at that one.
Right. 9 was the one in Vegas. That's right. Yeah, so WrestleMania 8 in Indianapolis when he faced Macho. That purple gear with a little bit of yellow in there. I saw it. I was like, wait a minute, didn't Flair? And then I saw something on like What Culture or one of those sites that talked about, best gear for Mania. And then I saw that. I was like, yeah, I was right. So those 3 red carpet winners. But that I expected Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair to be this technical wrestling versus power technical wrestling work of art. And it was none of that. It was a fight. And I was pleasantly surprised by it. Don't get me wrong. If I would have gotten exactly what I expected, I would have been more than pleased with that. Yeah. But two chicks beat the hell out of each other. And Rhea's sell job on the knee injury was just
this is your NXT Women's Champion. Here she is. This is your champion.
Charlotte. Holy crap! As I said before in the early part of the show, that woman can talk some shit. I was like, yep, you're definitely nature's kid. Woo! But man, she did everything except try and slap in the figure 4/figure 8 and say, now we go to school.
Right.
It was so good, though. I was surprised to see Charlotte pick up the win. Apparently, rumor has it that Rhea's having visa issues, so she had to go back to Australia. But there's also been reports denying that, so I'm not 100% sure. But you know what? I'm not denying. We are now heading towards, and this is kind of getting into NXT, heading towards Charlotte Flair and Io Shirai. Shut up and take my money. First off,
I need a graphic.
No. I need a song. You know what I need to do? The freaking Brodus Clay and Ernest the Cat Miller song. Somebody call my mama. Somebody take my money. Shut up and take my money. Take my money.
Because I've been counting. This is the 5th week in a row you've uttered that phrase.
It's kind of become my catchphrase on the show. Yeah. So I need to dust off
Whereas I call it the lean, mean, wrestle talking machine, you're all about shut up and take my money.
Take my money. Shut up and take my money. I am here for Charlotte and Io. The battle of the 2 best moonsaults in women's wrestling today. Because Charlotte has that elevated Kurt Angle style moonsault, which is just pretty. And Io's is just that great Muto, boop, just speed, impact, full extension. They literally look like they have ripped it off. Charlotte does Kurt and Io does Muta. I mean, there's no variance of either one. It's just like a carbon copy of both. Charlotte gets the hang time, and it's flowing, and it's beautiful and graceful, and Io is just flat bam. There's your really good sound effect. Flat bam.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be an interesting match. I was interested to see how the ladder match unfolded on NXT, because where I saw it going, and I don't know why, but Dakota Kai for me was the one that I thought was going to win, because she had the heavy, and I don't mean to speak of Mercedes Martinez that way.
Raquel
Gonzalez. Sorry, wrong name. But she had the second, we'll call her, and
the heater. She's the heater. Yeah. Raquel Gonzalez is the heater.
And so that's kind of where I saw it going, because for reasons we'll get into in a minute, I think, Candace wasn't going to win it. You knew that Chelsea Green wasn't going to win it because she's still a little wet behind the ears yet. And I don't think Mia Yim was going to win it because she was really just there to play a supporting role.
Yeah.
What I did not see, though, was Dakota taking the bump, or Raquel Gonzalez taking the bump through the table,
Yeah.
and then Dakota Kai getting eliminated the way she did. That allowed Io to, sneak in there and take the win. So, Charlotte, what this match proved, though, and even the people that didn't qualify, because Shotzi Blackheart, you can't overlook what she did to almost get into the match, too. Charlotte has any number of people over the next 6 months to a year that can line up and take their shot.
Just like Austin Theory with the men's division, and I hope they keep Austin Theory in NXT and not Monday Night Raw, unless they plan on making Garza and Theory a team, which doesn't make sense to me. Let Andrade get healed up and put Andrade and Garza together. I think that works better. But I am starting to really, very quickly become a fan of Shotzi Blackheart. She is fun to watch. Her entrance is gangster. She's fun to watch in the ring. It's a whole lot of just high impact, high energy, full octane, just throttle the whole way
like
through.
She was going to run the table 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago or whenever that was.
It sure did. I wouldn't be surprised if the end of 2020 starts looking more like Shotzi Blackheart's the beginning of her run. I have one major, other than the Raw Tag Team title match, which the only good thing about it was the fact that we got to see Bianca Belair make a main roster move. Good for her. Never been a fan of her, but good for her. I hope she doesn't end up being what Naomi was to the Usos, just
right.
An arm candy, because Bianca can go, Naomi can go, but they're there because they're married to one of the guys on the team. I hope that's not the case. My only real disappointment was Becky and Shayna. I was bummed about that match, and not the fact of how it ended. It was just Becky over the last 2 WrestleManias. Her victory has just been, it's been a wet fart. Just like, huh?
Yeah.
You beat everybody else decisively. You come up, you pick the disarmor off on everybody. You get a legit pin on everybody. You rolled up Shayna in the Kirifuda clutch, and then, by the way, you didn't pin Ronda Rousey last year, even though you did. You did, but there was clearly a shoulder up. It's almost like Becky's cursed, but not cursed. She's going to win, but but so
fine print.
Yeah, fine print. Asterisk. Barry Bonds has the home run record. So to me, that match was just a wet fart. Just like, it's like watching a horror movie and they, the killer and the girl that he's chasing, hold hands, sing Kumbaya, and skip off into the sunset together at the end of the movie. Like, what? Like, this? No. Yes. It's Man of Steel where Metropolis gets leveled to the ground, and then Clark Kent makes out with Lois Lane. Lois Lane knows that Clark Kent is Superman. And then he goes to work for the Daily Bugle or Daily Planet, whichever daily newspaper it was. I can't remember. Daily Planet. Bugle was Spider-Man. But just, no. This isn't supposed to happen this way. No. I want to talk about two more NXT things real quick. And then we'll get into some homework. Oh, wait, no, we got one more Mania thing to talk about.
Yes, we do.
The Boneyard match. First off, first thing I noticed, another thing that was not done by accident. The song that was playing as Taker rode in on the bike. Now That We're Dead by Metallica. It was like, yeah, yes, that is an entrance befitting the dead man, whether he's on the bike or not. And we got the American Badass, shit talking and all. Mrs. Rant Mode On is sitting next to me just in awe of this, going, is he supposed to talk this much shit? I went, when he's the American Badass? Yes, he is. And it's just the whole way. I'm like, yep, I remember this guy. Hey, it's all right, son.
Yeah.
You fought your ass off. You fought your ass off. Like,
I mean, this was equal parts camp, horror movie, and action blockbuster. I mean, there was just enough camp, you know. And one thing that I think we all kind of overstated, we were sitting here last week talking about who's the unholy trinity. There wasn't anybody. Didn't need him. You know, it was just Taker handling his business, if you will.
yeah.
And, you know, in a treatment like this, in a scenario like this, it's plausible that Taker could beat off Druids and the OC and still get him some of AJ Styles.
Yeah.
In a way that if you were going to have it in a 20 by 20 ring, it would not make sense.
No. This match was everything that it deserved to be. Firefly Funhouse was everything it was supposed to be. That we hoped it was going to be. The Boneyard match was everything that it deserved to be. And I'm not saying, I'm not saying that in a negative way by any way, shape, or form. This deserved to look like a Hollywood epic, and it did. And it was presented as such, and it was. Everything about it was beautiful. Now I have one question. Was that it for Mark Calloway? Was that it for The Undertaker? Because think about this. We're now seeing first looks on the WWE Network for The Undertaker, The Last Ride. When we finally see the full-blown thing of The Last Ride, are we going to find out that The Last Ride is the announcement of his retirement?
You very well could. You very well could, because that sneak preview made me kind of wistful. You know, and it pulls the curtain back and lets you know the amount of pain he's in and the amount of heaven and earth he has to move to get to a point where he can even compete once a year, you know, or twice a year, or whatever the schedule allows him to do. And he's got to realistically start thinking about that.
Right. Could this and I think if he has any more matches, we have to start asking ourselves from a realistic standpoint, from a health standpoint, was this it? Was this the last time that we're going to see The Undertaker? If this was the last time we're going to see The Undertaker, damn it, there wasn't a better way for him to go out, because he literally buried AJ Styles, got his ass back on that bike, threw the fist up, fire the Undertaker cross, and he rode out of that graveyard, Metallica playing again, riding off into the sunset, even though it was pitch dark. Riding off into the darkness. Befitting the dead man, befitting the last outlaw, befitting that character. And I'm sorry, I like to think myself a storyteller. I appreciate a good story. That's why I love wrestling the way I do. That's why I look at wrestling the way I do. If this was the end of The Undertaker, the end. That's the
And
best
another
seller.
question, if it wasn't the end, do you keep trusting yourself to keep telling that kind of a story? Eventually you're going to screw it up.
There's only one way it can. If it doesn't end this way, there's only one way it can end. Well, only two ways that it can end. Either A, we get that match with Sting, or B, we get one last match with Kane. That's the only two plausible scenarios.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. There's three. He beats Brock. One last match. Gets the vengeance over Brock Lesnar in a age-defying, career-defining win. Settles all debts, except Roman, but him and Roman are cool now because they team together.
Yeah.
Settles all debts, and the conscience of WWE is now clear. Tip your hat, ride off into the sunset. Four full scenarios. A, that was it. B, Sting. C, Kane. D, Lesnar. John Wayne does not die at the end of the movie. John Wayne rides off into the sunset, bad guy vanquished in a hail of shotgun fire.
Right.
And that's what that's what the Boneyard match was. John Wayne gunned down the bad guy. Taker gunned down AJ Styles and his entire crew. It was, Brian, we've seen the movie a million freaking times. It was Tombstone.
Yeah.
Wyatt Earp went ate shit on the Cowboys. He was at that damn creek. No. Yes, we've seen that movie way too many damn times, boys and girls. We'll quote that movie incessantly throughout the history of this show. Y'all best get used to it. But that's what it was. And if this was it, money, we talked about shut up and take my money. If this was it, money well spent.
Agreed.
Let's talk a little bit of new news. And then we'll get into one final thing in NXT since we've already talked the ladder match. Earlier today, on Friday, it was announced that finally WWE came to an agreement in terms to release the Revival. Dawson and Wilder are now free agents. They have, I think it's a 60-day no compete. You know where they're going. You know exactly where they're going. It's just a matter of time. This is the one time, yeah, I'm a WWE guy. Not, I watch AEW. I like AEW. But this, in my opinion, is one of the biggest flops WWE ever had, was misusing this team. Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder, in my opinion, have been the best tag team on the planet for the last 5 years. And WWE did nothing with them. Instead of giving them the titles, they gave the titles to Sheamus and Cesaro, who don't get me wrong, the bar was good, but the mother effing Revival.
I mean, and I think it's, obvious where they're going to wind up. They're going to wind up with AEW, who has a burgeoning tag team scene. You know,
Oh, yeah.
they've made no secret about the fact that, you know, they value tag team wrestling. So if you are a tag team that is as talented as Dawson and Wilder are, you jump at the chance to go to a place that's willing to use your talents to their fullest.
Real quick, pick two tag teams, not named the Young Bucks or the AEW Tag Team Champions. Pick two tag teams that you would shut up and take my money to see them take on the Revival.
Lucha Brothers. I would love Lucha Brothers versus the Revival.
I need a towel.
Yeah. And you want a good old school tag team match? Like a good remember the days kind of tag team match? SCU versus the Revival.
That's the one I was thinking. I didn't think Lucha Bros. I thought Private Party.
Yeah, them too. I mean,
I also thought Evil Uno and Stu Grayson. The best friends. My God. There are so many amazing possibilities with this. And I'm just like, can we move this along now, boys and girls? Can we get this going? Because I would love to see the top guys on AEW, because I think that's probably what they're going to call themselves, because I think they got that moniker trademarked. So either Dash or Dawson owns that. So, you know, top guys will be in, and it'll be awesome. So before we get into homework, and I think Brian said he had a little surprise for me in our pre-show meeting. One last thing. It's finally over. The saga of Gargano and Ciampa. Only downside, it was done without a crowd, as everything else is right now. And you know what? If you don't like it, I have two words for you. It is what it is. Shut up. Give me your money, because obviously you don't want to spend it. I'll spend it for you. But I thought that match was a microcosm. Everything they've done.
Yep.
It was a beautiful story told with two guys who love each other and hate each other at the same time. They can't live without each other, and they can't live with each other. It's like that I love you, I hate you kind of thing. You complete me, but you make me completely miserable at the same time. That's a nice one. Anyway, beautifully done match, and then out of nowhere, you see this foot right in between Tommaso Ciampa's legs. And then you realize that it is attached to the very beautiful blonde hair of one Candice LeRae, also known as Mrs. Candice Gargano. She kicks Ciampa in the balls. Johnny gets the win. They walk out. Couple of tweets follow. Johnny tweets out, and we lived happily ever after. Ciampa tweets out, I'm not Goldie's daddy. I'm not the face of NXT. I don't know what I am anymore. Both of those beautiful. But one more thing happened. In case you missed it, as Candice is helping her victorious husband, the face of NXT, and let's go ahead and be honest, for us Northeastern Ohio people, the true king and queen of Cleveland. As they're walking to their car, in the background was a black Dodge Charger with what looked to be a guy with a shaved head and another attractive blonde in the car sitting next to him riding shotgun. looked a little to me like Killer Cross and Scarlet Bordeaux.
Running a little surveillance.
I might be wrong, but if I'm wrong, so are going to be a lot of people, and they're going to be pissed. So TikTok, we've seen those vignettes that have been played. TikTok, that is Killer Cross's thing. It's coming. It's forthcoming, and it's gonna be the Killer Smoke Show versus the Garganos. And yeah, because Scarlett, I find her fascinating, because for a woman who packages herself as TNA, and I don't mean Total Nonstop Action, and I don't mean Test and Albert. I mean, you know, the goods. That woman can go in the ring. She ain't no slouch. She is a very accomplished wrestler. She had a really good run in Impact. She had some really good matches with Glenn Gilberti, Disco Inferno, even though Disco's kind of a joke, but he can still be a good measuring stick as to how good you are. And he doesn't have a problem putting over a woman. He got his ass kicked by Jackie plenty of times. But then again, there's a lot of dudes that would get their asses kicked by Jackie. That's a scary lady. I mean, she had a great match with Tessa Blanchard in Impact when Tessa began her rise to what is now the Impact World Championship. She ain't no slouch. And Killer Cross is a freak athlete. I mean, he's just a devastator. I'm looking at that. So, any thoughts on that before we get into assigned homework?
I read a lot where a lot of people hated it. A lot of people, and I don't know why they hated it. If you hate it because of the location, if you hate it because of the circumstances, I mean, we can't do anything about that, gang. And also, yes.
A lot of people hated the Firefly Funhouse match. So in my opinion, like I said at the early part of the show, so many people lack imagination. They've clearly never watched Sesame Street. Because if you watch Sesame Street, for the love of God, Elmo has his entire Elmo's world where he's drawing on walls and things come to life. They never, if they're our age and they don't like either the Gargano Ciampa match or the Firefly Funhouse, they never watched Pee Wee's Playhouse, which was all about imagination. They never watched LeVar Burton and Reading Rainbow. They never, for the love of God, they never watched Mr. Rogers. I mean, their parents. This is the only thing I can say. As a parent, you can agree with me on this, Big. As a parent, if someone does not see this because of a lack of imagination, that is a failure on the parents. Your parent, if look at me, boys and girls, if you hated that match, if you hated either one of those matches, there's only one person, there's one or two people to blame. Maybe four if your parents got remarried, whatever, up to four people. You blame your parents because they did not teach you about the beauty and the power of an imagination. They did not teach you how to think. They did not teach you how to dream. They did not teach you how to create. Damn it, I was a kid. You know what? I loved Legos. I'd get the Legos and I'd build the castles and I'd build the Imperial Star Destroyer. Yes, I had one. I still got it. It's still bitching. It's still put together. It's super glued. But there was a lot of times, I read the instructions. But just like in the Lego movie, sometimes I just free built. I was a master builder. And you know what? It was awesome because I used my imagination. I got a 5-year-old who's got the big Duplo blocks. And guess what? She's already doing it, which means she's more creative than you idiots are. And yes, I'm calling you idiots. Why? Because you can't see the forest for all of the trees. And I'm going to pray for you. I don't know what God you believe in. I don't know if you believe in God or not. And you know what? That's you. I'm going to pray for you for the simple fact that you ain't got no imagination. And that sucks. It's kind of like Harry Potter being all, I feel sorry for you toward Voldemort because you got no friends. Nobody loves you. Okay? I feel sorry for you because you ain't got no imagination. You don't know what it's like to just, hey, I'm going to create this. I can keep going and turn this into a rant mode on, but I'm not. I'm done.
So, I mean, I will say that it's good for what it was. This had to end at some point.
Yes.
Because between, Tommaso's injuries and other people stepping to the forefront like Adam Cole and Keith Lee and, we could bring all kinds of people.
Like who? Who was the first guy you said?
Oh, Adam Cole and Keith Lee.
Yeah. Who was the first guy you said?
I said Adam Cole. Other people stepping to the forefront like Adam Cole.
Who was the first guy you said?
Adam Cole, baby.
It only took you 5 times.
Sorry, I'm trying to get my point out. The powers that be finally figured, okay, we have to end this now because we have other stories we want to tell. We, look at it this way: these two guys are now unencumbered of each other. They can go off and do other things, and the beauty of it is they can always come back. If they have discovered another avenue they want to travel with the story, come back to it in a year, come back to it in 2 years, whatever you want, because that will always be there. It's Rock and Stone Cold. I mean, Rock and Stone Cold always found their way back to each other.
Sting and Flair, they always found their way back.
Yeah.
Hey, we're running a little stale here with one of those with Sting. We're running a little stale here with Flair. All right, well, let's start kind of moving these two guys toward each other and let's heat things back up. Okay. They did that crap for 20 years.
So I didn't have a problem with it at all. And it was smart on their part to introduce Killer Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux at the end, because who are they staking out? Are they staking out Gargano and Ciampa? Or excuse me, are they staking out Gargano and LeRae, or are they staking out Tommaso Ciampa? We don't know.
You can clearly, in my opinion, you can clearly tell as they were passing, as the Garganos were passing the car, heads were moving.
Yeah.
They were, my opinion, they visually were tracking the Garganos. So I think that's coming. Homework time. We got a free pass because let's be honest, not only was it Wrestling Christmas, but it was Wrestling Christmas break at school. Brian is a teacher, and everything in Ohio, like it is across the rest of the world, is an absolute clustercluck in terms of education.
We're doing the best we can.
Brian has done more e-learnings right now with his kids than he wants to count. And whether he realizes or not, he's probably about to end up helping my daughter, one of my kids, Squishy, because she hates Google Classroom. I can't figure this out. Call your Uncle Brian. No! You can work a freaking you can work a freaking camera like a boss kid, but you can't figure this shit out. Anyway, because we had such a wonderful Wrestling Christmas break, I'm going to give you, my students, all of you, it's student's choice. But regardless, it's an instant classic. You have your choice, Brian. By next week, I would like a full dissertation of either the Boneyard match or the Firefly Funhouse. My challenge to you, good sir, is go as deep as you can. Because one thing I know you have always struggled with in terms of watching wrestling is really peeling back 15 layers. You'll peel back a couple, but you won't really just dive into the core of it. Your challenge is to do it. There is no too deep for either one of these matches. So your challenge is to dive as deep as you can into the psychology, into the references, into the nuances of every bit of either one of those two matches. This worked because of this. This did not work because of this. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going, you know what? Let's just call it what it is. I'm going to make you do what I would do. For this 1 week, my challenge to you, my dear best friend, is to don't think like the elementary school teacher Brian Kriego, the man with an amazing vocabulary, or as I like to rephrase it as the world's largest dictionary. I know you hate it when I do that, but I amuse myself. Don't think like you. Think like me. Dive deep. Storytell. Pull it apart. Put it back together. Explain it. My question to you, what the hell did we just watch? Tell me what the hell we just watched. Because I know you're not gonna, I know you're not gonna hate doing either one of these matches, Bubba. You're gonna love them. You're gonna enjoy it with a smile on your face and the love of Jesus in your heart.
Hashtag challenge accepted.
All right.
All right, so we are going to wind it up this week with me doing a little allusion to Cleveland's own Bone Thugs and Harmony. Because I feel like we are at a little bit of a crossroads, if you will. See what I did there?
But I'm not lonely.
Well, in the wrestling business. Because let's face it, we saw, or we are headed for what could be the culmination of several careers. People that we've relied upon for decades in the wrestling industry. So the bar talk for this evening is I want to fast forward to WrestleMania 37 in Los Angeles. Some of the names are going to be obvious about who we would want to be. I want to think about some young stars or some new stars who we sincerely hope, are prominently featured. Not in honor of the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. That's not being prominently featured.
Another
but
satisfied
WrestleMania
customer.
37, these guys and gals are prominently featured in major storylines. Next year's WrestleMania.
I've already thought of two right off the bat. That, in my opinion, there's no question. Three. I just added one. And
I've got 5, and I bet we're going to have a lot of commonalities in this list.
Well, let me go first, because literally I'm having to come up with this on the fly because Brian would not tell me this. He sprung this one on me, so challenge accepted. So if I'm just going to rattle mine off. If they're on your list, mention it. We'll both discuss. First one that came to my mind, Aleister Black. If The Undertaker is done, makes perfect sense to put Aleister Black in as the new supernatural force of WWE, the new conscience of WWE. Fits the mold. It has the mystique. can end a match just like that with Black Mass. Don't get me wrong, that match with Lashley was stupid. But then again, Lashley's overrated. He's overrated as hell. So Aleister Black, definitely for me. I love him. Is he on your list?
He was not.
Oh,
I'm
well,
ashamed to admit that, but
I'll keep going then. Next one on my list. Now, obviously, this would require a title change and a call up. Adam Cole, baby, with or without the Undisputed Era. Adam Cole is legit.
yes, he
There's
is.
that all there is to it. He's a good-looking guy. He can talk a blue streak and he can go. He is an amazing wrestler. And you know what? Fitting molds. He could be a new version of Shawn Michaels. He could be Dolph Ziggler if actually Dolph Ziggler was entertaining.
He's been driving this feud with Velveteen Dream from a chaise lounge for
Yeah,
3 weeks.
yeah. And you know what? It's worked. It's worked beautifully. And I love it. I love Adam Cole. He's one of my favorites in NXT. Speaking of NXT, this would also require a title change in a call up. But we saw what the man could do in a big stage at Survivor Series, and that would be the limitless one himself, Keith Lee. That guy has superstar written all over him because in the ring, he's got the goods. On the mic, he is charismatic. He has this suave way of presenting himself, and he is so bleeping eloquent in the way he normally speaks. It's like listening to a smoother version of this guy. And I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about the dude in the red shirt. Imagine if Brian was just smooth, deep voice, and was just very cool and laid back and had street cred. Because let's be honest, neither one of us did. I've heard you try and sing Usher. You don't. Keith Lee would absolutely be one. Believe it or not, Baron Corbin.
Really?
Oh God, the more and more he works, the more and more I want to punch him. He's becoming that heel. You know, a good heel means I want to pay my money to see you get your ass kicked. And guess what? I want to pay my money to see King Corbin, Baron Corbin, whatever you want to call him. I want to see him get his ass beat. I don't like him. And it's not because I don't like him. I want to boo the guy. I want to see him get massacred in the ring. If I were to ever approach him and see him in real life, I would thank him for being such a good heel and making me want to hate his guts. Best compliment I can give him. I see you. I love watching you in the ring. I love booing the crap out of you. Thank you for being you. I'd probably get a thank you, you're welcome, blah, blah, blah. And it'd be cool because shocker here, boys and girls, I love heels. I love heel work. I have one, but I don't think it'll happen because in my opinion, he's too damn small. And I don't think it'll ever fly in WWE. Pun intended. Ricochet.
Yeah.
Ricochet.
Sadly, I think the shelf life is come and gone on him.
I think Ricochet is one of the most exciting pieces of talent in the entire world. It's just breakneck. Now, I do like this potential tag team that he's shaping up with Cedric Alexander, though.
Yeah.
That could be nice. To be continued. And the last one I've got, and it'll never happen because he'll never leave NXT. Ciampa.
Yeah.
I would say, and I there's no need expounding on Tommaso Ciampa. I could say other guys like Bray, but Bray's been there. We know what Bray Wyatt is. We know what kind of madness and beauty we've got in that.
I'm surprised there wasn't as much overlap as I thought between you and I. I'll give you the three that you didn't name
Okay.
before we wrap things up here for this WrestleMania recap episode.
I'm assuming out of your five, I named two, so it was Cole and Lee.
Yes.
All right. Who's your other three?
Andrade, because I think there's a wealth of potential there, with or without, being in a tag team or not. I think there's a lot to mine there with him.
The only thing Andrade needs is Zelina Vega.
Right.
It doesn't matter if he's in a tag team or not. As long as he's got Zelina Vega working the mic for him, Andrade's gold. And I'm surprised. And I'm kind of like with you and Aleister Black. I'm kind of pissed that I didn't mention him. So,
I want to see Bianca Belair featured prominently, if for no other reason than she can break up the monotony of all the different permutations of the four horsewomen against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte, Sasha, Bayley, Becky. Because I think Bianca could be, kind of the fly in the ointment kind of type deal. We're too busy beating each other up, and all of a sudden along comes Bianca and wins the Rumble next year or something like that. And now, we've got her to deal with now. And then you're going to be proud of me with this one. Der Ring General, Walter. I think he's got ready-made potential for years to come. If and when Lesnar decides to stop away, there's your big, huge, but with more of a skill set than Lesnar, I think. Because Lesnar's become kind of one note, F5 and suplex and all that kind of stuff.
Also, at the same time, as I alluded to earlier, Brock Lesnar's the gatekeeper. Brock Lesnar is the guy with the keys. You have to get the keys, which is the championship, from Lesnar. And it seems to happen every year now. Walter is just a scary human being. If you want proof of that, just YouTube a collaboration of all of his chops. Son of a bitch. Ain't no amount of money. Yeah, Walter is a very good one. Let me ask you a question, since we're kind of talking about this and kind of the future. Yes or no? No expounding necessary. Is Finn Balor's future back on the main roster?
No.
Thank you. I agree with that, because Finn said it best himself. Raw and SmackDown, the main roster is Hollywood. NXT is Broadway. You can't hide from anything. I think NXT's future is Finn Balor. Because here's future booking. Dream beats Cole. Cole gets Thanos out of the picture of NXT, and he ends up on Monday Night Raw. He'll end up on Raw, not on SmackDown, because he's too damn good to be wasted on Friday nights with Michael. And besides, you'll have Michael Cole calling Adam Cole, and that would be just too confusing. Because one of them sucks and one of them doesn't. And then so help me God, if we end up hearing Michael Cole baby, I'm going to break a damn TV. So Dream is the champ. Who goes after the Dream? The Prince.
There you go.
and then the Prince rules the kingdom of NXT. Also, wouldn't surprise me at all if we start building toward Balor and Walter. Balor beats Walter, then Balor beats Dream. Finny two belts.
I'm here for it.
I know you're a Balor guy, so am I. I mean, I love it. And the more it happens, I love the Prince because it's heel, but it's James Dean cool. It's just, I'm the baddest dude. He's John Wick. I'm not a good guy. But I'm cool. So I like that bird talk. I have one to propose to you for next week.
Okay.
It'll be a round 2. Because we discussed great pro wrestling entrance themes not too long ago. Next week, Bar Talk will be wrestlers who are currently active who should go back to old music. I will tell you my number 1 right now. Drew McIntyre. I'm sorry, I have a hard-on for Broken Dreams. I love that freaking song.
That's going to require some research.
Yes, it will. So, that being said, I think it's time to get out of here. We've got stuff to do. We've got big weekend. It's Easter weekend. We've got plenty of things to do. Brian's got to catch up on some stuff, and I need a haircut. One of those things might be, well, both of those things in their own particular ways might be a tad extreme. I'm alluding to something, boys and girls, because male pattern baldness is a bitch. As the great Bomani Jones said, it might be time to come on home.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, it might be. Say any final thoughts before we get out of here, my brother?
No, just looking at how deep I got to go next week. So
Have fun. Enjoy. So for Brian, for everybody else involved with the show, my name is Patrick. This has been another wonderful installment of Wrestling with Egos. You guys have seen the socials and everything else and the shout outs to Ace 500 as we've been doing all this. Here's the credits, and that's our story, and we're sticking to it.
Another satisfied customer.